In 2002, the fisheries industry of Belize remained viable, healthy, and strong. The sector contributes to support Belize's economic growth by providing jobs, ensuring food security, export earnings, and to all overall socio-economic development of Belize. This year, the fishing industry provided direct employment to over 3,376 licensed fishers and directly benefit nearly 17,000 Belizeans. Under the leadership and guidance of the new Ministry of the Blue Economy and Civil Aviation, the Belize Fisheries Department, which has a legal mandate for the management, conservation, and sustainable use of the fishery resources and the inland and marine ecosystem. The exports earnings for 2022 total 26 million US dollars. Um, the export value represents slightly decrease compared to 2021. The decrease can be attributed to Tropical Storm Lisa, which made landfall in central Belize on November 2022 and had a negative impact on spiny lobster production. Additionally, no sea cucumber were exported in 2022 since the fishery remained closed until a more in-depth assessment of the sea cucumber population was done. The Caribbean spiny lobster and queen conch continue to be the Belize's top two fishery products. The marine capture fishery sector continues to operate on an artisanal small scale. Fishers operate on artisanal fleets of 847 fishing vessels, which include both motorized skiffs, sailboats, and canoes, ranging in length from 2 to 10 meters and powered by outboard motors up to 150 horsepower. There were 3,276 licensed fishers on 847 vessels. Of these fishers, 97% were male and 87 were female. We have seen a gradual increase in number of females entering into the fishery, although it's not the amount that we want to see, but we're gradually getting there. Monitoring and control of new entrants in the fishery industry requires a closer look to avoid excessive fishing effort. So the fisheries department is looking at that to see if we, in the near future, could put a cap in the number of fishers entering into the fishery. In terms of lobster production, the lobster production have shown a positive trend over the years, increasing from 400,000 pounds in 2006 to over 700 pounds. In 2022, 751,570 pounds steel weight was produced. As you can see on the graph on the left-hand side, there's a general increasing trend. Lobster production have shown a positive trend over the years, increasing from, like I said, 400,000 pounds to, and in 2022 fishing season, there was a total of 783,470 pounds of lobster tails produced, which represented a 4.1% increase when compared to the previous fishing season. Lobster export revenue was 17.18 million US dollars, a slight increase from 2021, while lobster tail export revenue decreased in revenue. Production performance for the 2021-2022 season was above average. There was an 8.8 increase in lobster production when compared to a 5 years average. The comparison to the 5 years average production is an indication of performance of the season as prescribed under the adaptive management framework of the spiny lobster. If we look at the graph at the left-hand side, you see spiny lobster production by month for the season 2021-2022 compared to the 5 years average. And as you can see, we are performing above the 5 years average. In terms of conch, annual conch production for 2022 was over 1 million pounds, market clean conch, which showed an increase of 14.2% when compared to the previous season. The significant increase was due not only to a greater national production quota for the fishing season, but also due to high demands of queen conch meat in international markets because of restaurants returning to normalcy following the COVID-19 outbreak. So if you look at the graph on the left-hand side, you can see that there's also a general increasing trend. And it's important to note that since 2003, our conch fishery has been production has been guided by the allocation of national quotas for each fishing season that is allocated after a comprehensive assessment is conducted at the opening before the opening of every season. Last year in 2022, 977,000 pounds, 940 of market lean conchs meat were exported, and most of this was exported to the United States. The total revenue was 8.7 million US dollars, which shows an increase of 11% compared to the previous season. Because of this rise in demand following the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions in the United States, market prices of queen conch have marginally increased when compared to pre-COVID. In terms of research permits, marine scientific research is internationally regulated by the 1982 United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Sea and is a permit of scientific research occurring within the waters of Belize. Uh, the Fisheries Act the Fisheries Resource Act number 7 of 2020 entails a provision regulating the permitting of scientific research. In 2022, the department issued 57, go back please. Last year in 2022, the department issued 57 marine research permits, and these include research in marine and freshwater fishes, permits in mariculture operation, hecate research, coral research, on documenting marine environment and resources, and other marine-related activities. In enforcement, in 2022, a total of $462,997 in fines and penalties were imposed by magistrates for 202 infractions committed by fishers. The infraction with the highest fine in 2022 was fishing for the new finfish species, which are the grazers, angelfish, sugarfish, or parrotfish, which are now protected under the new Fisheries Act. The individual was fined over $153,000 for being in possession of these protected species. So now we're seeing, after the Fisheries Resource Act in 2022, now we are seeing higher fines that are being imposed for infractions. Also, in terms of enforcement, the enforcement unit conducted 10 workshops, and this is to sensitize not only our officers, but also the public on the Fisheries Act and fisheries regulations. For marine protected areas, enforcement officers and coast guards were also included within these workshops. In terms of policy and legislation, the most recent and important overarching legislation is the Fisheries Resource Act number 7 of 2020, which is the main legislation for the conservation, management, and development of the fisheries resource and marine ecosystem. The new overarching legislation is very comprehensive and consists of 94 sections and 19 parts, while making sure the legislation is in compliance with local policies, national laws, and international obligations. The law contains current and pertinent principles of fisheries management. It also includes provisions for co-management of fishing areas, provision for licensing of fishing activities and data collection, requirement of establishing fishery management plans, strengthening implementation of management access programs, and support for building resilient livelihood of fishing communities. Apart from that, the legislation also provides for the establishment of a fisheries advisory council, fines and penalties to deter illegal fishing, unreported and regulated fishing, the designation of fish landing ports, modern measures to facilitate surveillance and enforcement, scientific research, experimental fishing, among others. In terms of mariculture, the mariculture sector in Belize is slowly developing through experimental designs and exploration of marine algae and seaweed, which has been identified as this initiative with high potential for development. To stimulate interest and create a perceptive plan for the sector, a mariculture policy was developed and endorsed by the cabinet in February of last year. This was followed by the development of terms of reference for the development of agriculture regulation to be prepared by 2023. In terms of commitments, we have the Blue Bond commitment. In November of 2021, the government of Belize and the Nature Conservancy announced the completion of a $264 million debt conversion for marine conservation that reduced Belize debt by 12% of GDP. One of Belize's major motivations for the project is a national commitment to the implementation of predefined and time-bound ocean conservation milestones, which are to increase in biodiversity protection zones from 15.9 to up to 30% of the ocean area by 2026. Completion of a marine spatial plan by 2026, which have initiated last year in 2022. Protection of the public lands within the Belize Barrier Reef System, a UNESCO World Heritage Site as mangrove reserve. Revision and implementation of Belize Integrated Coastal Zone Management Plan, application for 3 formally designated marine protected areas. And other non-legally binding is the conservation commitments, including creation of national blue carbon policy framework, regulatory framework for high-value, sustainable aquaculture, mariculture, as well as governance framework for domestic and high-seas fishery. Belize achieved the expansion of high protection for biodiversity zone to 11.63% of the Belize oceans. Regional international commitments. Belize participated in regional international fora continued in 2022. At the regional level, the Fisheries Department continued to participate in various working groups, meetings, and workshops organized and implemented by the Caribbean Regional Fisheries Mechanism and the Regional Fisheries and Aquaculture Organization for Central America, or OSPESCA. The department is committed to support implementation of regional lobster regulation developed by OSPESCA, a regional plan to combat IUU fishing, regional shark and queen conch management and conservation plans, and other regional initiatives. At the international level, the Fisheries Department continues to collaborate with the Inter-American Development Bank and the government of the Republic of China, Taiwan, in the development of the project proposal to assess status of fishery stocks in the territorial waters and EEZ. The Fisheries Department also responds to fisheries information requested by FAO and UNCTAD through our cooperation with UNCTAD and Ocean Economy and Trade Strategy for the Belize was successfully developed in 2022. To our regional projects, there's the Ocean Economy and Trade Strategy. Belize participated in the UNCTAD side event at the United Nations Ocean Conference in July of 2022, which took place in Lisbon, Portugal. At the side event, a video highlighting the deliveries of the UN implementation project supporting development countries in analyzing and implementing evidence-based and policy-coherent ocean economy and trade strategies, which presented the new The project is now closed, but has delivered a strategy and a plan of action to support Belize in accessing the use of its marine resources in a sustainable, diverse manner, and has produced a multi-species management plan for the finfish sector of Belize. In terms of seaweed development in Belize, the seaweed mariculture sector is slowly developing in areas near southern and central Belize, and there has been implementation of a seaweed working group, and the Belize Seaweed Mariculture Cluster was formed to oversee a regional project entitled for the development of the mariculture sector in 2023. In terms of sargassum affected mainly coastal areas including central Belize, which is Ambargeski, Kikaka, and southern Belize, Placentia, and Hopkins, and other shoreline areas. A task force was formed under the leadership of the Ministry of Tourism and identified and discussed opportunities for sargassum management and utilization in Belize. In terms of participation, Belize has maintained multi-agency approach to fisheries law enforcement along with support of co-management partners. And we have participated in several activities. For future works, for the fisheries to ensure the sustainability of the fishery, a national comprehensive stock assessment of the spiny lobster needs to be undertaken, including our deep water stocks. These studies should inform the revision of the management plans and establishment of additional management measures, such as seasonal total allowable catch for the lobster fishery in the near future. Additionally, fishing effort must be controlled, and the number of traps and shades per fishers and per fishing area should be regulated. The fishing industry can anticipate rapid growth and sustainable development in the near future as a result of the implementation of the new Fisheries Act. In addition, the assessment of the fishery resource within the EEZ will be conducted with the assistance of the government of the Republic of China, Taiwan, both of which is planned for next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the presentation.